4 months before I bought my condo. I was broke, man. And it took 4 months. It only took me 4 months of discipline, of consistency, of budgeting, of saving to be able to buy a condo. Mind you, this all from a 9 to 5 job. I'm not some financial guru. I turned 21 this year, but last year when I bought this condo, I was 20 years old. Just getting my foot in the door of certain things and just making the right decisions. March of 2025, I was working in insurance. That is what I used to do. I don't do it no more, but I used to sell insurance. I was making about $25 an hour selling insurance. I was also getting commission as well, but for this particular job, I wasn't getting no commission though. It was mainly like a desk job, and they actually ended up shutting down. When they shut down, I wasn't managing my money well. By the time that they released everyone and I got released, I didn't have no money for real. I was relying on my job to be my main form of income, and I was saving it, but sometimes I would go on my savings and, spend when I needed to spend. I wasn't budgeting, like at all, which to me now is kind of crazy. But yeah, I wasn't budgeting. And I remember when they released me, I was like, okay, I can, God gonna work. I know y'all don't know this, but man, I'm a believer. I have a strong relationship with God. Over these years, God has increased my faith and let me understand what having faith in Him can really do for you. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to get into the numbers of how much everything was, like my interest rate, what my down payment was, if I got any grants or not, the price of the condo, the bedrooms, the square foot, all of that. I'm getting to that a little bit later. But I want to talk to y'all more on a relatable and real note because I'm not nobody special, bro. I work a job. Like, do I want to escape that? Yes, I do. But for right now, I work a regular 9 to 5, So anyway, yeah, they released me, and I was stressed. And I'm the type of person I wouldn't really get stressed like that, but I was actually stressed out because I was reaching out to jobs. No one was replying to me. No one was getting back to me for real. And usually, I work in insurance. A lot of times they're hiring, right? I have a 215 license. I can sell health insurance or life insurance. So that's two different type of fields that I can work in. So I'm like, I can probably get a job, So I was calling people, doing interviews, whatever, and nobody was taking me. And I was like, wow, this is on like a week, right? I expected to get a job in like a week because my bills was due. And like when I got fired, I think 3 weeks after they released everyone or they shut the company down, my bills are due in 3 weeks and I have the money for it. So I was like, damn. So I remember I let go. That was the first time I really and genuinely let go and just gave everything to God and said, you know what? I'm going to stop stressing. I'm going to stop worrying. And I gave it all to God. That's just the truth. Like, I want to be real and I want to be just authentic. That's the truth. I didn't do nothing fancy. I didn't invent the wheel. I didn't come up with some great business model that changed my life the next 4 months. Not at all, bro. I literally just gave it all to God. And I was out of a job for 3 weeks to a month, something like that. So the first week, I'm like, let me try and get a job as quick as possible because I'm on the calendar app looking at, okay, if I start here, I won't get my first paycheck until here. Then my bill is going to do. And then I'm doing the whole math in my head and I'm stressing myself out and I'm worrying. And after that first week, I was like, it hit me and it struck me of just, man, give it to God. So I prayed on it and I released it. And I remember, My girlfriend and I, we figured out new ways to hang out that didn't include spending money all the time. And we was both able to adapt, and we would go to the beach now. Beach is free. You feel me? Go to the beach. We was going to parks, swinging on the swings, doing like, stuff where we just hanging out with each other, having fun. And mind you, I lost my job, so in my head, I should have been stressing. The devil wanted me to stress and worry and panic, but I released it all. And throughout that time that I didn't have a job, I wanted to figure out, how can I invest? How can I have money making money for me? During this time, I was not investing, actually, I was trading. I was like day trading. So I had like a certain amount of money in a trading account, and I would lose the majority of it. I wasn't, it was almost like gambling. I wasn't disciplined enough to really sit down and research. I really wanted a way of making quick money. So I was day trading, and I ended up losing a lot of it. But one thing that taught me was to invest long term. So I was thinking, while I didn't have a job, of how can I figure out a way to invest long term? What can I do? And God put it on my heart of you've been day trading this whole time. You know how the stock market works a little bit. Invest in stocks, right? That's all you got to do. Invest in stocks, let that grow, let that compound over time, and make money the right way. It takes time. You have to build that stuff. It isn't something you're just gonna wake up one day and be a millionaire. You have to really sit down and build something that works, build something that has a strong foundation. So a little, when it gets windy, when a little storm comes, it can withstand that, right? So that's what God put it on my heart to do. So I was like, okay, didn't have a job at all, but I'm like, okay, when stuff start getting better, I'm gonna invest in this. So I was researching stocks. That's what y'all see in my other videos. In those videos, the previous ones I have, I was just understanding, hey, I can invest. And that's when I just got my new job. But let's go backwards a little bit. So yeah, I just understood, okay, invest in the stock market, learn a little bit about it, do research on it. And this stuff is gonna compound over time, and it's gonna grow. So my goal went from getting rich quick with trading to making better decisions so that I can reduce the age that I retire, right? So the average age is what, 65, something like that? So I'm like, okay, how can I reduce it to 60, to 55, to 50, and then go lower from there? That's what I started on, right? So a company hit me back that I applied to, and they was like, hey, if you have your insurance license and you do these courses or do these things that we need you to complete before your start date, we're gonna give you a sign-on bonus. So I'm like, what? A sign-on bonus? I ain't never in my life had a job where they actually gave you a sign-on bonus when you start. Usually I always see them and it's like, oh, you get a sign-on bonus after 3 months, after a certain amount of stuff completed. So they were like, hey, we're gonna give you a sign-on bonus the Friday that you start. The Monday that you start, that Friday, you're gonna get a sign-on bonus. And I looked at the calendar, I'm like, huh? Let me see what that is. And that Friday was the same day that my car insurance and car note was gonna be due. And it was the exact amount that I needed. So that gave me a rush of faith and momentum, and it just relieved me from all of my stress even more. Right now, I knew God would handle it, which He obviously did. But deep down in your heart, you're still nervous. It's not doubt, but you're nervous. You're like, okay, But anyway, I let go. They told me what I had to do, and all these. It was like homework, bro. It was like 10 different assignments I had to complete. Some was kind of long, so I'm realizing also God gave me rest at the time too, because I was working a lot. I was tired. I was weary, and the time that he gave me off was one of the funnest times I've ever had in my life to this day. That month of being off, that 3 weeks of being off, and just spending time with my family, my girlfriend, and not waking up at 6 in the morning was extremely enjoyable. But so I did all the assignments. I showed up. I did what I had to do to make sure that I'm gonna get that sign-on bonus. So I know I'm kind of, talking about other stuff, but I think that this all correlates to me now getting my condo in 4 months. You need faith. You have to believe it, right? You have to know that it's possible, that it's coming. You can't look at your current situation and think, oh, this is it. Oh, this is the end. Oh, and start crumbling from within or in your own mind, right? You have to have faith that bigger and better is coming. And that's something that God has taught me. But so I did all the assignments, whatever, and I was gonna get paid. It was like 23 an hour. It was 19 an hour for the training for 2 weeks. After the training, you're gonna get pushed up to $25 an hour, and after 3 months, you're gonna get up to $25 an hour. So I'm like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? My only real bills is my car note and my car insurance, which my car note was $384 a month, and my car insurance at the time was like $357. So that's like what, 730-ish, quick math, something like 700 something. All I know, 7 something a month. I'm like, okay, how can I budget this 750-ish a month? I get paid weekly. So when I started, I'm like, okay, how can I budget this into every check that I get? And how can I save? How can I invest? Because I already had it in my mind that I was going to invest into certain stocks, and I wanted to save a certain amount. So mind you, this is just hourly. We also was getting commission. So, and I didn't know I was going to, I'm just like, hey, I'm decent at sales, but I don't love it. I do this because it pays the bills. I don't have a college degree, right? But this is something that I can do that can make me money. So I started the job. I remember I got the sign-on bonus. I'm hype. I'm like, yeah, I did all the stuff I had to do. They gave me this little blue ribbon thing to let you know that you did all the assignments you had to do, and that you will receive the sign-on bonus. I'm hyped. We in a little auditorium, and they're just talking about everything or whatever. And then fast forward to my first check. I think my first check was like $650. Okay, how can I budget this $650? So, and I remember it totaled out to be like $225 a week. So I said, okay, I'm gonna put to the side $225 every week, mandatory no matter what, for my bills. Right? This ain't going nowhere. I was like, all right, I'm gonna put this much to the side for my bills, the $225, and I'm gonna spend, say, $50 to $75 a week. The rest, I'm saving or I'm investing, right? At the time, I wasn't saving a lot and I wasn't investing a lot. I think I started investing with like $125 a week, $150 a week, something like that. And then the rest I was saving. I don't have a calculator right now, but I wish I did, so I can do the math for y'all. But yeah, my first check was like $650. And then, the next week, another like $650, $680-ish, whatever. And I'm just sticking with that. I'm like, okay, during this time, I'm researching stocks. I'm researching which ones make the most sense. A condo is not on my mind, right? At all. I'm just thinking about long term. How can I reduce the age of when I retire, right? That's what I'm thinking now. First 2 checks go by, whatever. And then we start getting on the phones, right? We done with the training, with the insurance training. We get on the phones, and this is when God starts just working in every way, shape, and form. He is just providing everything that I need. And God was with me at that place. He's been with me my whole life, but he was with me at that place. So I exceeded. all expectations off the jump. He gave me the words to say when I was on the phones talking to people. He gave me the right people that was willing to buy. Now, our commission structure wasn't crazy. It was 23 an hour since I was done with training. And every sale was between $7 and like $15, something like that. The first day that I sold, I got around like 5 sales, which is pretty good, right? They were expecting us to get like 0 to 3. They're like, okay. And I remember I sat next to the guy that was number one in the company. I sat next to him because I wanted to learn. I don't know why. God just put on my heart to go sit down next to him and learn from him. What is he doing right? So I sat next to him. Now this dude is getting between 13 and 18 sales a day. So I'm like, damn. So I'm not gonna lie. At that time, I was a pocket watcher. So I'm like, bro, how much you make? He was like 1,200 a week average. I'm like, damn. 1,200 a week, you making double what I'm making almost, right? Well, from training, but so I'm like, damn, okay. And he was getting $25 an hour with the extra commission. He's like, I'm getting like, yeah, like I take home, mind you, take home like 1,200 a week. I'm like, dog, you going crazy, right? So, I'm just watching him, and what is he saying? I'm gonna copy that, right? I was already familiar with insurance, health insurance specifically, so I knew how the business worked. So rebuttals, I knew how to, rebuttal people if they had an objection. So, and the people I was getting, they like, it was ACA health insurance, so you kind of need it, right? So it was pretty easy to sell to people. So over the weeks, I was getting really good. I was getting went from 5 to 9 sales. My team leader is like, wow, you are amazing. The guy, the number one guy, he's like, dude, what are you doing, right? So I was just exceeding everyone's expectations, and I was feeling the glory that God put on me. I was feeling what I could really do if I really put my mind to something or tried at something. Or, man, this is a 9-to-5 job. Yeah, I make commission, but I'm still working a job. I'm not nowhere at home like doing, I'm not day trading. I'm not drop shipping, nothing like that. I'm just working a job, right? And regardless, I started saving, budgeting, no matter how much. When I made more money, I just saved more. I was like, bet. I was saving more. So I got to the point where after like my first month, I'm saving $500 a week. Maybe less than that. Maybe my first 3 weeks, my first month. My first month, I was saving like a $500 every week. I was investing $175 a week. I was putting to the side $225 for my car and my bills, whatever, and the rest I would spend. And the rest wasn't a lot. It was like 50 to like $75 that I was spending. My paychecks would fluctuate at the time. I was making anywhere between say $950. I'm gonna pop up some pay stubs on here, but I was making anywhere between $950 and 15-ish hundred every week. Taking home, not gross. I'm taking this home. And now again, there's 20-year-olds that's making 10K months, 20K months, 30K months. There's 20-year-olds that are in college right now that's building themselves up for a better future. So when they're 24 years old and they out of college, 22 years old, they gonna come out the gate making 100K, right? I'm not saying this to say that I'm better or worse than anybody, right? Everybody, God's timing is perfect, right? I'm nowhere near where I want to be at all. I want to hit those 100K months eventually, right? That's my goals. I see myself doing it. I see that it's possible. So I'm not making this video to say that I'm better or worse than anybody. I'm just making this video to relate and let people know, if y'all my age, I don't care how old you is, that you're probably closer than you think to that next level, right? I was 4 months away when I was broke. I didn't know anything. I don't know what's going on. If I would have just thought, oh man, what's in front of me is horrible, which at first I did, instead of looking further out and being like, hey, this is going to change. This is temporary, right? The stuff I'm living in right now is temporary. Think like that. Think like stuff happens for you, not to you, right? God's plan is perfect. You got to trust in him. That's what you need to do, right? So, yeah, I was saving about $500 a week. I'm like, okay, this is steady. This is it. I'm moving. And it got to the point where I started feeling something in me where I was like, all right, I'm I'm ready for a change. I'm ready for something different. I didn't I knew what it was in my heart, but I didn't know what it was in my mind yet. But something was pushing me though. I didn't know what it was. I just was noticing as I was driving to work, I would look and I would see like it was an hour drive, by the way. I worked the hour from where I lived at. So I was driving for a long time, and while I'm driving, I'm reading the word. I'm trying to understand stuff. Mind you, I was not perfect. I was doing stupid stuff, but that's beside the point. Anyway, but I would drive to work, and I would see houses, and I would see like couples or people walk out their house, and I'm like, wow, that's gonna be me one day. And I just thought it. I just said it. I'm like, damn. And I'm driving by myself. I'm just driving, and every day I would drive past houses and I would look at them, and it got to the point where I was seeing, like, envisioning myself walking outside of one of these houses. I'm like, this is mine. Seeing myself own it. Seeing it, I was like, yo, this is, I literally visualized myself walking out a home or mowing mowing the grass, mowing the lawn, something like that. So God already put it on my heart that ownership is on the way, right? That change that I'm feeling is on the way, right? And I would walk around that office and I skipped a little bit, but not eventually, after the first month and a half, so I'm seeing this, but I'm not skipping nothing actually, but after the first month and a half, again, where this is happening, I ended up becoming the number one agent there. After a month and a half being there, I was the number one agent. I was getting the most sales. I was, stuff was going absolutely amazing. And I felt the momentum. So I wrote it. And it got to the point where insurance can be very micromanagey when you're selling it, whether if you're full commission or you're hourly and commission. Again, I was hourly plus commission. I tried full commission, didn't like it, wasn't for me. So I went to hourly plus commission, again, like a regular 9-to-5 job, but yeah, so I was investing. I felt good about investing. I was so eager to make YouTube videos and keep growing and just learn and do something different. But again, God put it on me to own something. So it got to the point, I mentioned micromanaging. So I said that because a lot of times your managers or your team leaders can be over your shoulder watching everything that you do. I was doing really well, so mine wasn't. She was like, man, you do you, right? And it was a very nice lady. She would come talk to me about so much stuff. She would give me life advice. She was a very, very nice and pleasant lady. And I was like, hey, I want to stay at this job as long as possible. This job was coming up on a very busy season where I was able to work overtime and, all these extra stuff. So I'm like, hey, I'm about to stay here. So I would go on my computer, and I started doing this, was go on my computer, go on realtor.com, and I was looking at houses. I was looking at houses, looking at condos, just looking at them. And I wanted a multi-unit. I was like, I want a multi-unit, right? I want to do this. I want a multi-unit, whatever. So I was looking at multi-units, but I was also looking at houses, condos, townhouses, whatever it was. I just knew I wanted to own something, right? But my main target was a multi-unit. Anyway, so there was no one breathing all down my neck. So I was looking at condos, looking at houses. I'm just looking at them, and I'm like, how much do I make? So I was looking at how much I had saved. At this time, I probably had like 4 paychecks, probably like 2,000 saved, maybe like 600-700 invested. But I'm like, forget how much I have right now. How much do I make a year if I stay here for a year? If I keep this up, how much do I make? And when I did the math, I was grossing, I don't remember, I ain't gonna lie, I gotta put the pay stubs, but I'm gonna show y'all. But I was taking home again between 950 to about 1600. And I'm like, in a month and a half from now, I'll be making $25 an hour. That's an extra $80 every, no, not 80. That's an extra, yeah, 80. It's an extra 80 every week. So I'm like, okay, my income is gonna go up, right? And then once you hit, I think it was, yeah, 3 months was 25. Once you hit a year there, it went up to 28. I'm like, well, I'm gonna be making 28 pretty soon, so I'm about to go ahead and let me see how much I make. So I was making around like 70, between 70 and like 85 a year. I'm like, okay, this is some good money. I'm 20 years old. I don't got no big bills. Saving $500 every week. I'm about to go crazy. Ended up calling the agent. I called the agent. He we was talking like some random dude on realtor.com. Just I looked at a house, I called him, I said, hey, I'm looking at this house. We started talking, he asked me how much I make, what my credit score was. I'm gonna get into those numbers in a second, don't worry. What my credit score was, what kind of house I wanted to buy or whatever, that I want to start looking at stuff now. And mind you, my account, I got like between $2,000 and $3,000. I don't have a bunch of money to put down. I didn't tell him that. I don't got a bunch of money, but I will soon. So I'm saving, what, $2K every month? I can build this up pretty quick. I'm not sure how much I need to put down. But long story short, I talked to him. We started looking at some houses. We was looking at mainly condos, houses, condos. I think we looked at one house, and then we put my stuff in to go ahead and get approved and see how much, what's my price range actually is. What can I actually afford, right? And the houses we're looking at right now, I mean, at this time was probably like 200,000-ish, 180, 200,000. When we spoke on the phone, he told me that based on my income, I should get approved for around 250-ish. Based on my credit score, my income, 250, 280-ish. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Bet I can do something with that, right? So it wasn't quite enough for multi-units, but I'm like, hey, I can either buy a house or I can buy something that I can own. I can buy something. That was my main thing. I wanted to move out. I wanted to own. I did not want to rent. Me and renting never went together. It just don't go with me, right? I would rather pay my own mortgage, even if it got interest in it, for 30 years and then be done, rather than having to rent my entire life. I just can't do that. That's just me, though. Again, y'all might be different. That's my opinion, all right? I'm thirsty, bro. Woo! All right. Anyway, so yeah, we went in, and again, I got a bunch of momentum. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get approved. Whatever. So, the numbers actually came back, and mind you, I was 20 years old. I started working seriously, not in, because I was working at like 16, 17, whatever, but I was working like Starbucks, like little, jobs like that. So they need at least 2 years of consecutive working, or like, stuff like that. So I had that. So I'm like, damn, am I not going to be able to, you know what I'm saying? But I seen it. I knew that I just knew it. I knew I had to do it. I knew this was what I'm meant for, right? So they were like, hey, you're going to get approved for about, based off just your income. I forgot why they let me, I forgot what it was. But based off my income, I was going to get approved for about 180. That was the estimate, like 180. I'm like, okay, that isn't horrible, right? So I started looking at condos. Man, places were not it. I live in Tampa, Florida. Well, no, I worked in Tampa. I lived in Spring Hill, but I wanted to buy something in Tampa. But I was fine with driving. I ain't gonna lie. I just needed to leave. I don't know what it was. I felt it. I'm like, dog, I'm getting too comfortable. So I was ready to get up out of there. So Anyway, so looking at townhouses, condos, none are really hitting like that, but I'm still saving. All right, I'm still saving money. I'm still budgeting. I still have faith that something is about to change. Something's about to happen. Still keeping God first. Still reading the Bible every day. No matter if I had a bad day, bad week, bad whatever it was, I'm still keeping God first. No matter when I didn't have any money at all, still talking to God, still going to Him. When I am now making the most money I've made in my life, at that time, still keeping God first, still talking to Him. That ain't gonna change. That's not gonna change with me, right? And that's something that He's taught me. I mean, He's taught me that. So, yeah. Pretty soon, I ended up finding one that I liked. It is, I found one I like. I'm like, okay, this is the one. It wasn't a lot of money. It needed a little bit of repairs, like the little stove, a little part of the stove was broken. The washer and dryer was a little broke. I'm like, I can fix these up. It isn't a problem. I finally found something I like. It is in a nice gated community. It was really close to the job that I was about to be working at. I mean, like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is perfect, right? So everything in my mind and in my understanding and belief was going great. I'm like, oh yeah. So I was praying for that specific condo. I'm like, oh, I want that one. I want these things. I'm praying for that. Of course, little did I know, God's plan was better than mine. So He had the plans, right? He like, man, you ain't thinking big enough, right? And we put an offer, 143,000. Put in an offer, whatever. I got approved for about 180. So I didn't want to, hit that ceiling. That's just the max, right? So I wanted to go a little bit lower. So I offered her 140. The lady that owned it, the woman doesn't want that offer. She rejected it. He said we might have to go ahead and look somewhere else. And at this time, we looked at a lot of places. Nowhere was fitting what I wanted. If I was going to get a condo, it had to be in a gated community. It had to have a pool. It had to have certain, like, security. I needed that. He said, the lady was like, nah, we don't want that offer. When he told me that, I was sad. I was a little mad. I was a little angry, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was a little upset, right? Because I'm like, God, I trust you, but I was like, damn. I was like, dang, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I really wish I would have got that one. But what I said out loud, I might have been thinking that and feeling that, but what I said out loud was, I thank you, my God. I know your plan is perfect. I pray for your will to be done. So when I said that, I called like an hour later. Now I'm at my desk. I couldn't get up because I was on the phone with somebody. I put the person on hold and was like, yeah, what up, man? He said, well, the lady that owns this house, she didn't want the offer, but the next door neighbor, who has a pretty similar unit, their unit is exactly the same, is just literally the next door one, they're willing to accept that offer. But we're not sure if we can actually go inside and see it because there's a tenant that's living there. I'm like, you lying. I'm like, you lying, bruh. My heart started racing. I'm excited. I'm like, no one I know is really doing this for real. So I was very excited, and I'm like, God's plan is perfect, right? So we actually ended up moving a few strings, and we went, we looked at it, took a look at the stove. The stove is fixed, right? There's no repairs needed in here. There's no carpet, right? There's nothing that I would have to do to this place. I go outside, the washer and dryer works. Everything worked in that house. The tenant was a very, very nice lady. She was very relatable. She had the place beautiful. And she asked me, hey, did you want to keep certain things? I'm like, yeah. Increased my faith a lot more, but also let me know that God's plan really, really is perfect. There's nothing more perfect than it. So have faith. Trust Him. And when he puts something on your heart, attack it, go toward it. Right? Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt what you believe and you think that you can accomplish or that you can do. Right? God put it on me to go and look and call that realtor, and he put that on my heart. That wasn't put on everybody else's heart. Right? So whatever he has on you that you feel as though, hey, I should be doing this, but I'm unsure or I'm scared or I don't know. You gotta do it, man. Just take that step forward and he gonna start guiding you. That's something that I've learned. Now, I know I just yapped, man, but that was very needed. I felt as though I had to sit down and make this video and talk about that. But now for the numbers. I'm gonna try and show y'all some screenshots, but the numbers wise, the house was 143,000 in Tampa, Florida. My interest rate, not gonna lie, they did me wrong with this, but my interest rate was a 7.5 at a 730 credit score. My down payment, this was something that, is probably the most interesting. I went conventional because of my credit score. They let me go conventional, so I saved my first time home buyer loan or my FHA loan. I put down 3%. So I only needed, including closing costs, it was like, in total, I needed like 11,000, which I was able to save. That amount. So they told me, hey, you need about 11,000, whatever. I'm like, okay. I think at the time I had like about 9-ish in my savings, but I had about 1,200 or so in my investments. So I was like, hey, if worst case scenario, I can use both of these. This is what I really want is a home. I'm putting everything into it. So I actually ended up getting a grant. I got a grant. I'm not sure why. I low-key forgot why. I'm going to try and get it for y'all, but I'm not going to lie. I don't remember why. It could have been because of either my income. It was something, right? Because they're only going based off of my hourly rate and not based off of my commission. So I ended up getting a grant. It was $5,000. I needed about 10,000 to put down. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm about to use all my money on this. God's plan again was better. So I didn't know I had a grant until I went to go sign. They're like, yeah, so we're going to, so you have this, you have this grant. I'm like, grant? Yeah, $5,000 we're going to take off of your down payment. I was like, what? I went in there expecting to spend everything. And I only had to spend $5,000, which was half of what I thought, which was great. So I just used the amount for my savings, and I kept my investments, and I had still some extra money saved, which I was able to use on, stuff like a little bit of renovation that I did in here also. I'm gonna show y'all eventually, but buy a couch, buy some furniture, buy some little small things like that. I was able to use for that because I was ready to come in here, house butt booty naked. We ain't got none of me. I'm sleeping on the floor. I'm grateful for God, man. But yeah, so 7.5% interest rate. My loan actually was 133,000. My mortgage is about 1225 a month. 1225 a month. What else am I missing? Yeah, I only had to put down I needed to put down at first. It was about 10-ish, but the grant covered 5. I'm trying to think, what else am I missing? I think that's about it. If you have any questions in the comments, I can answer them all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that. Hey man, thank y'all for the video. I know it's really just a yap session, but I was able to do this first of all by having faith, right? Having faith that I can do it, having faith in God, that he's gonna make a way for it. But also budgeting, right? You can save 10K and be able to buy a home, dude. You know? I see people buying like tires on their cars or buying foolishness, man. Going to the club and spending $1,000 on a section. What are we doing? Save that. Put that to the side. Put that somewhere where it's gonna grow. It's gonna compound over time, right? So, yeah, that's about it though. I'm gonna post a lot more now, especially now I have a day where I work from home. I'm not in insurance no more, but I can update y'all on stuff like that later, man. But I appreciate everything, man. Again, y'all like, comment, share, subscribe for more, and y'all comment what else y'all want me to make, man. What else you want me to talk about? Anything. I think I'm gonna just be on here just talking about my experiences with stuff and try to be as relatable and real as possible and talk more about 9 to 5 content, because it's okay to have a job, bro. It's okay to work a 9 to 5 and then build something on the side, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm 21 years old now. See y'all a little bit what it's looking like, man. Ain't nothing too crazy, right? 2 bed, 2 bath, you know, about 1,000 square foot. Yeah, got a little pool right outside there. I'll be out there a lot, man. Nice little couch. Yeah, we chilling, man. Appreciate y'all. You have a good day. I'm out, man.